Yeah.
Great.
Hello, Alina. How are you?
Thank you. Very well. Nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too. So tomorrow you will start this mindful music making course.
Yes.
And what's the content of it?
Yeah, I was just preparing it with Leonie, with my colleague. This workshop is going to be called Freedom of Expression, and we will explore how freely we can express ourselves as musicians, and what it means, what freedom means to us, and what expression means to us, and how we can really be ourselves, and what is in the way, because a lot of musicians have a lot of fear coming up when they are about to express themselves. So actually, we as people in life, when we feel completely free, immediately we get fear around, am I allowed to be fully free? What if I make mistakes? What if it doesn't fit into what people expect from me? So we are going to explore a little bit of that, a little bit of freedom, expression, fear of making mistakes, expectation of what we expect of ourselves. A lot of musicians struggle with being very judgmental with themselves, being very hard with themselves, expecting a lot from themselves, feeling under pressure by the music world or themselves. So all of these really, really interesting topics that go hand in hand with freedom and with improvisation.
Yes, I totally agree. And Matthew Varley is joining you there.
Exactly. He's going to do some improvisation workshops with us. Yeah. So Matthew is joining us from England. I'm really excited that he could make it to travel in these difficult times to come and do the workshop with us. Yes.
Yes, and Matthew has some really interesting ideas about improvising and for classical musicians, and I think that's quite far from how your education was.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I come from this understanding of there are rules, there are certain ways of how we should be and how we should play music, and who we should be and how it should sound, like a lot of ideas. And I developed quite far away from that. And also what Matthew is doing is really much more being spontaneous and being available to what life is bringing. And that brings us to the topic of our time in general, because now we can't rely anymore on what we thought is so stable and so clear. So now we are really facing a time where we have to be creative, we have to be improvising. And as Matthew is saying, improvisation is not just something you do with playing. It's really an attitude towards life. Like, how can we encounter life, whatever comes our way? How can we encounter that with an open mind, with an open heart, and be creative about that? Because we just simply don't know what's going to come in the next moment, or in the next week, or in the next month. With Corona situation, we simply don't know. So we all are invited to improvise and to be creative.
Yes, I think that's exactly what's happening now. So people have a lot of pride, not only with their instruments, but also with their lives. And this uncertainty, and that you can't plan things. You don't know what's coming ahead.
Yeah. And I was actually talking to a friend of mine about the uncertainty, and I was asking what would you suggest, what would you say to people when they ask what to do with this uncertainty? And then she said, well, isn't it an illusion that we ever lived in anything but uncertainty? Because we think we are safe, we think we know what's going to happen, but is that really true? We actually don't know what life is going to bring. And even when we do feel safe and we do feel like everything's going the way it should go, maybe it's not going to be this way in a week. So it's never actually really true that we can control or predict the future. And the time right now is inviting us to encounter life with a more open-minded approach, and this wonder of really accepting that we simply don't know. And that is actually would always be needed from us, or would always be welcomed by life. And also, yeah, it encourages our creativity and our way of thinking and way of feeling and way of acting, to really be awake, to really be available for what's really happening in the now.
Yes, but on the other hand, if I'm thinking about your life, you're filling your calendar and have concerts and a lot of traveling and this kind of things. And so doesn't it mean that you really have to plan ahead?
Yeah, and that's really a balance to find, of course, that's true. And there are so many different ways of balance to find. Like, for example, like we already had this conversation with you about climate change and how I feel this dilemma between my career and my agency and festivals and orchestras planning in a way that makes me travel a lot. And my values and my understanding about climate change and about the environment and sustainability and how I would like to live and serve the planet and contribute to the well-being of all and the planet, how that doesn't go automatically hand in hand, and how that sometimes really is an inner conflict. Or do I choose to go to Japan and play this concert, which is going to support my career and is going to be possible for me to continue working and also standing then for what I care about and do the work I do with mindful music making? Or do I choose to not fly to Japan anymore and then maybe pay a little bit with losing audience and losing a bit of my career? Or where do I trust that my career is not going to suffer if I choose to really just follow what feels aligned to my values? It's a constant exploration, and for me, these times we're living in right now are making me hope that a lot of things are going to be questioned, and that things that were normal are just now being looked at again. And hopefully traveling is going to become also more conscious and more embedded in the understanding of sustainability. That's my hope, and that's my dream, that agencies, festivals, orchestras, artists are going to feel themselves not as like separate beings who try to do the most profit and be the most successful, but as part of a community that is responsible for the well-being of all, and seeing and embracing the responsibility that art also and artists bring with them, which I feel deeply that we do.
Yeah, that's very powerful what you say. And hopefully we'll find this small scale concerts and music making back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's really inviting everyone to question themselves and to question, how do I want to live? How do I want to contribute? A lot of musicians also we just came out of our big retreat this summer, and a lot of musicians asked, so are we still important? Are we still needed? What's our job as musicians in a time like this? And how is it going to continue? Of course, nobody knows, but it's such a precious gift to question and to have the space to ask very, very important questions that makes us choose where we want to go and how we want to act, how we want to live, who we want to be also as artists. And there are no easy answers to this, but as we already talked about this, and we both believe that music and art was always part of human history, and it was always part of our human experience to make music together. So I believe this will always be the case. We just have to find out the how the new normal is going to be.
Yes, great. Thank you so much, Alina, for your words. It's been lovely to talk with you.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
I hope to see you soon.
Yes, me too.